It was a typical Monday night for Sarah and her husband, John. They had just put their kids to bed and were settling in for the night. John was reading in bed while Sarah was scrolling through her phone. They had left the front door unlocked as they were expecting a package to arrive the next day. That's when they heard the noise. At first, they dismissed it as just the wind, but then they heard it again. It sounded like footsteps coming from downstairs. John quickly got out of bed and made his way down the stairs, but he found nothing out of the ordinary. The doors and windows were all locked, and there was no sign of anyone having broken in. But Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. She suggested they call the police, just to be safe, but John assured her that everything was fine. That's when they heard the noise again, louder this time. It sounded like someone was in the house with them. They quickly realized that they had left the back door unlocked, and that's where the sound was coming from. John grabbed a baseball bat and cautiously made his way to the back of the house. As he approached the door, he saw a shadowy figure moving in the darkness. The figure turned towards him, and John could see that it was a man holding a knife. He yelled at the man to leave, but the maniac just stood there, staring at him with cold, dead eyes. John swung the bat, but the man dodged it with ease and lunged at him with the knife. John managed to dodge the attack and swung the bat again, this time connecting with the man's head. The maniac stumbled back, but quickly regained his footing and lunged at John once more. Sarah, who had been watching from the doorway, screamed for John to run. He hesitated for a moment, but then turned and bolted back towards the stairs. The maniac chased him, his steps quick and heavy on the hardwood floor. John could hear his breathing, ragged and labored, as he closed in. But just as the maniac was about to catch him, he stumbled and fell to the ground. John looked back and saw that he had tripped on a loose rug. He took the opportunity to sprint up the stairs and lock the bedroom door behind him. Sarah was crying, her hands shaking as she clutched her phone. They could hear the maniac banging on the door, trying to break through. But John had locked it securely, and they knew they were safe for the moment. The police arrived soon after, and they found the maniac still pounding on the door. He was arrested and taken away, but John and Sarah knew that the memory of that night would haunt them for a long time to come. They never left the front door unlocked again. It was a quiet Saturday evening when a group of friends decided to go camping in the woods. The group consisted of 4 young men and 1 woman, all in their early 20s. They were excited to spend the night under the stars, sharing stories around the campfire, and enjoying each other's company. As they were setting up camp, they noticed a man who appeared to be in his mid-30s walking towards them. He introduced himself as a park ranger and asked to see their camping permits. The group handed over their permits, and the man inspected them before returning them to the group. He told them to be careful and left. The group settled in for the night, telling stories and enjoying the peaceful surroundings. However, as the night went on, they began to notice strange noises coming from the nearby woods. They brushed it off, assuming it was just wildlife, but the noises grew louder and more persistent. Suddenly, they heard footsteps approaching their campsite. The group quickly realized that it wasn't the park ranger, but instead, it was the man they had seen earlier. He was holding a large knife and had a crazed look in his eyes. The man began to attack the group, stabbing each of them multiple times. before fleeing into the woods. One of the men was able to call 911, and emergency services arrived shortly thereafter. Tragically, 2 of the campers did not survive the attack, and the others were seriously injured. The manhunt for the attacker was on, and it was discovered that he was not a park ranger, but instead a known psychopath who had been on the run for several years. After a lengthy manhunt, the attacker was eventually caught and taken into custody. It was discovered that he had a history of mental illness and had been in and out of psychiatric institutions for years. The news of the attack sent shockwaves through the local community and the country as a whole. It was a sobering reminder that danger can lurk in unexpected places, and that we must always be vigilant of our surroundings. The survivors of the attack were left with physical and emotional scars that would never fully heal. The incident also led to increased security measures in public parks and recreational areas, with stricter regulations on camping permits and increased patrols by law enforcement. The attack on the group of young campers serves as a haunting reminder that even in the most idyllic settings, we are not immune to the horrors of the world around us.